We're not talking about my right ear or my left ear. Today we're talking about the front ear. Hello everyone and welcome to the video. My name is Cyber Prime, and if you clicked on this, you know exactly why you're here, so I won't keep you waiting too long. And if you fell asleep and YouTube decided to show you this for your unconscious brain to take in, thanks! Alright, now sit back, relax, Guardians, and dust off your Destiny lore books, because we are going to predict Destiny 2 Frontiers. This video is my predictions and sort of concepts for what structure Destiny 2 Frontiers will take. And if you enjoy any of it, or if this video sparks your imagination and creativity in any way, let me know with a comment, like, and subscribe. Now to the video. So, to briefly explain to anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about, for year 10 of Destiny, we are getting the final shape, and 3 episodes of content delivered to us over 3 acts each. Episode 1, Echoes, explores Nessus, and a new enemy emerging in the Vex, causing them to have a sort of civil war and rapidly evolve more human-like battle tactics. Pretty cool story potential. Now, Episode 2 is Revenant, where we will be working with Elixni characters and Crow to hunt down the Fanatic, once and for all, in the Tangled Shore to put a stop to his Vampire Fallen army. I presume this will just feature fallen enemies with Dark Ether designs. I doubt there will be any real gameplay changes, but hey, I would love to be wrong. Maybe dregs can have like a new type and they'll jump on you and grab you and drain your life or health unless you shake them off or something. And lastly, Episode 3 is Heresy, where we will return to the Dreadnought and explore the Hive Pantheon. I personally believe that this episode will actually bring back Oryx in an act of heresy defying the sword logic that was teased in Ghosts of the Deep, and that will be what disrupts the Pantheon. Either that, or Savathun just straight up wants to kill Xivu, thus setting up Xivu being angry for Frontiers. And speaking of Frontiers, is the code name for the next project for Destiny 2, after these episodes. And Bungie have been very quiet in explaining what structure this project will take. They must have accidentally left their script for the announcement in the Destiny content vault, but no matter. I am here to analyze this little trailer and the preceding episode knowledge far too much in order to give you a general structure for what I think will happen. And there's really 2 main possibilities. And if you'll bear with me for one brief moment before we get into the predictions, I noticed something that some of you might be interested in. I know I am. I am going to be discussing the current episodes we know about briefly and their lifespan. So if you want to jump to the pure Frontiers predictions, then you can jump to this timecode. Don't worry, I won't take it personally. I forgive you. Or do I? I think that these episodes are released in reverse order from a technical standpoint purely because of the investment, and I think this might prove that episode content will not be vaulted. Stick with me now. This could be copium, but even if it's not, it's proving that Bungie now has the ability to make more complex, larger content that even though they'll still be removed, they're still putting in investment in shorter scale endeavors. So generally, if we look at previous seasons, the second and third seasons introduce larger scale content compared to the first and last episodes. The mid-seasons seem to have new environments or entire returning areas or zones. For example, Season of the Haunted brought back a Leviathan patrol zone, Season of the Deep brought back Titan for activities, and Season of the Splicer had full new Vex network areas for activities. They required significant investment in the creation of new assets. Then if you look at mainly the last season of every year, most of the activities related to these seasons take place in patrols or rely heavily on pre-existing assets. For example, Season of the Wishes only activities both took place with Dreaming City assets and environments that already existed comprising basically everything. Season of Arrivals mostly took place in patrol zones as far as I remember, and Season of the Seraph bringing back the bunkers from previous seasons to interact with. Obviously we're taking the dungeons and stuff like that and the raids outside of this. This is the pure seasonal model. Now, cyber, you might be saying, that's just good management of resources. Reusing assets they previously developed where possible is good from a business perspective, and I generally agree. When you can, it makes sense to reuse what you can. But I am pointing out that the middle seasons generally have more new assets or investment in bringing back assets because they are the middle seasons. Their activities exist in the game far, far longer than the last season of the year's activities, meaning they can afford to have more investment. Now, if we look at the episodes, Echoes seems to rely heavily on pre-existing assets, although I must say credit where credit is due. The evolution of the planetoid in missions is beautiful. I really hope we get to explore it even further, because it genuinely looks great. But it keeps up the pattern, and so does Revenant, as it sounds like we will be getting a new vampire tower area for encounters, as well as returning to the Tangled Shore for activities. In a manner I expect to work like Titan in Season of the Deep, so not a patrol zone, just pure activities. The most interesting episode by far for me is Heresy, however, as they are redesigning the art style of the Dreadnought, and by the sounds of it, bringing back the Dreadnought in a large way. I would not be surprised if we actually get it back as a patrol zone, maybe starting off as a smaller version like the Cosmodrome. But still, that's quite a lot of content that will be removed as soon as its episode ends. So unless I'm mistaken, and Bungie may literally confirm me wrong at any second, I think episode content, for the most part, might actually stick around after their year is finished, which would be a very, very welcome change. I just don't think they do a massive amount of work to bring in essentially what could be a new patrol zone just to have it removed in like 4 months. So let me know your thoughts on that rant. And now let's get into the actual predictions of how Destiny 2 Frontiers might work. First off, let's look at the name. It's Frontiers, and everyone has already talked to death how this means new frontiers and going beyond our solar system, and I have to say that I agree completely. But I studied too much English in my time to not pick apart the choice of codename for this project, as it was deliberate and they knew people would look at this once it was released. I want to ask you, why did they call this project Frontiers and not Frontier? Adding the simple S implies plural, and yes, this is more than likely copium, but grammatically, and I got a goddamn English degree, so I'm putting it to use for something, this could be implying that the next expansion will do a Forsaken and Beyond Light style strategy, and give us multiple locations. Yup, that's the first possibility. Since Frontiers has a single star beneath it, indicating a single content drop, it could mean one large expansion for the year, with presumably 3 episodes afterwards, as if you look closely, the star beneath Frontiers actually pulses 3 times, which could indicate 3 subsequent smaller releases of episodes, basically replicating the final shape year of content, and I honestly don't think anyone would be surprised if this was the case. But if we are getting multiple Frontiers, what are they? What could they be? Now, if I'm looking at this from a production level, I think the most likely outcome of this would be either one new large destination accompanied by one remastered unvaulted destination, or 2 smaller new destinations releasing together, more akin to the Tangled Shore and Dreaming City. So, for example, maybe Frontiers focuses on us traveling to Reese, where we discover Aramis followed her maps and already arrived there, and has reactivated remnant Siva tech that she had found from attacking Failsafe. This could be a perfect time to remaster and bring back the Plaguelands location, and then leave the door open for Wrath of the Machine in a mid-year episode. This could also potentially tie into Anna, Elsie, and Archie's adventures at the end of the final shape, as I am really curious to see where they go and what they find. Or maybe for the 2 new destination option, maybe we go to Tora Battle to take back the planet from Xivu, but we also get to explore a moon of the world, where we set up a command center to oversee the war, as well as explore. And maybe the moon is being used as a scrapyard for Cabal technology. Maybe it's a massive mausoleum for fallen Cabal, or even a Scion experimentation test planet. Lots of big possibilities for the moon before we even explore the traditional destroyed Cabal cities of Tora Battle. Anyways, that's all option 1 of how Frontiers Frontiers could be structured, but I have a sneaking suspicion that option 2 might be just as possible. As I said before, the star beneath Frontiers pulsed 3 times, and I could interpret that to mean that for possibility 2, there will only be 3 episodes, but they will be even larger in content. Basically, every episode will be a Curse of Osiris or Warmind level expansion with new destinations, strikes, and activities. The single star beneath Frontiers pulses 3 times, and none of the other stars did that previously in the reveal. This could very subtly indicate 3 separate content drops that all follow the theme of New Frontiers. So instead of one big expansion with a large new location, we instead get 3 episodes, each with new mysterious locations that can be expanded on over time, if needs be. This structure would allow Bungie to fast-track their desire to bring back mystery to the Destiny universe by giving us multiple new frontiers to explore, all filled with their own new lore and questions, all within a year. This structure could also prove to the player base that episodes are a valuable addition for the content structure, as Bungie can deliver more content whenever they need to, and not rely on the seasonal model expectations of what content players will receive throughout the year. And maybe this is the strategy to explore the universe more for a year, until we hear rumors of a new powerful enemy that appears with their own expansion to really kick off the next saga's main expansions in the next year. I would be absolutely shocked if yearly expansions were removed forever. But with Marathon and Destiny 3 both in development, I think a year of Curse of Osiris Warmind amounts of content in better quality and 3 times during the year would be a nice way for Bungie to focus more on their other projects, just for a year. But hey, maybe none of this makes any sense whatsoever, and maybe you think I'm delusional, and honestly, at this point, I wouldn't blame you. If I had to bet though, I'd say we might get a Shadowkeep size expansion followed by 3 big episodes. But if option 2 was available, with new locations being added every episode, I actually think I might prefer that. Maybe if each had 4 to 6 replayable or campaign quality missions, with 1 or 2 per act, but that might be asking a bit too much. But either way, that's all my theories. Again, if any of you want me to develop any of my story ideas in more detail, let me know in the comments. Someone in a previous video asked me to explore my Neomuna and Clovis Bray episodes further, so I will be working on those at some point. And of course, let me know if you have any predictions for how Frontiers will roll out. But that's all for now, Guardians. I hope you all have an amazing day. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, and roll out.